Greetings Guardians, my name is Bife here. So the latest trailer for Lightfall just dropped and I thought I'd go ahead and cover some of the little bits and pieces of lore and speculation that we can glean from the trailer, even if this video is going to be a little bit short. It is important to note that speculation bit because there's lots of details here that are quite unclear, and naturally there are going to be some assumptions and guesswork made. A lot of it may turn out to be wrong, but for those of you who do want to leave your own speculation and guesswork, down below in the comments section, you can leave it all right there. So first things first, I think it's well worth noting that this trailer contains a lot of footage of Strand. And for those of you who do not know what Strand is, you probably didn't see the Lightfall announcement. And for those of you who don't know the deeper lore behind what Strand is, I'm going to really quickly refresh everyone's memory on that. Strand is a new darkness subclass, but it's a lot more than that, and it is very much unique to us. Strand is a power of the darkness that we discover and that no one in the universe has ever found before. Strand is very much a power of darkness that pulls on those same threads of consciousness and memory as themes, but it's also a power that pulls at the literal threads of the universe. As a Bungie dev put it back in the reveal, Strand is psychic energy that forms an extra dimension that connects the world together. Strand is described like an alternate psychic universe, an imprint of top of the one that we see, invisible to all but those who can manipulate it. You are one of those such people. You can manipulate and interact with it. You can peel back the curtain of reality and manipulate the threads of that psychic field of energy to do marvelous and terrifying things. In this trailer, we see the effects of Guardians using Strand in the streets of Neomuna, the capital city of Neptune, after a brief explanation of how to master that power which is given to us by Osiris. A lot of the stuff that you see happening to foes here makes a great degree of sense for what's just been described. We can see various Cabal soldiers being hoisted into the air by Strand from the extra dimension. We see enemies being disintegrated and pulled apart as their strands are torn asunder, and we even see the grapple hook feature that has been noted. The grapple hook, of course, is something that can grapple onto anything because the extra dimension is everywhere. But the cool thing is that we didn't know it could grapple onto a Titan mid-flight. Yeah. I think it's fair to say that the Strand piggyback off of the Thunder Crash is worth thinking about. But all of this stuff to do with Strand is, well, just a part of everything that's going on in the trailer, and a small part at that. There's three big bits that I want to analyze really quickly and go over with you because I think they have the big reveals of the trailer. First up, we have these shots of a Hawk gunship weaving in and out of Cabal carriers mid-battle. Notably, these carriers do not bear the markings of Keitel and her Ascendancy forces, and they don't seem to bear the mark of the Red Legion. Even more importantly though, if you look down at the planet below them, there are rain clouds and a blue atmosphere. That, to me, looks to be Earth. And that makes the setting of this particular battle exceedingly troubling. The expansion here, of course, is called Lightfall after all, and it does seem here like Calus's Cabal forces, under the command of the Witness, are making their assault on Earth and the last city. But perhaps more importantly, the actual fall of the light has been predicted, and it feels as though now that prediction is starting to pan out. First of all, we need to remember back to the Dark Future lorebook, which predicted the fall of the city in a different manner, but is still worth referencing if only because of the fact that there are different bits and pieces that may start to come true. For example, the existence of Rasputin in an exoframe is something that we may see come to pass in this season. However, the Dark Future lorebook is not the only place that predicted the fall of the city. In particular, you need to take a look at the Vow of the Disciple raid, and the prophecy wall that you could visit after the Caretaker encounter. For those of you that don't know, this was a wall that predicted what the Witness would come to do, which would be to arrive at Earth, defeat the Guardians, and to enter the Traveler and drink the light. Calus's forces directly attacking the Last City clearly seems to be a prelude to these events, even with the supporting forces from individuals such as Keitel Mithrax, Rasputin, and Morozov, I think that it's entirely possible that we'll be facing an overwhelming force sent by Calus and The Witness. Secondly, let's talk about this scene here with a Tormentor. For those that don't know about these boss-tier enemies that are comparable to the Lucent Hive Guardians of Witch Queen, they are combatants drawn directly from the Witness's forces. The true Witness's forces. These are not auxiliaries like the Taken or the Scorn. They are the first true darkness combatants that we have seen out in the field, with maybe the exception of Rulk. They wield giant scythes. They are seen to be wielding the same kind of resonant technology that is at the heart of everything to do with the pyramid, and they are not to be underestimated. However, this is only more true now that we see this pretty gruesome scene. This one Tormentor here can be seen holding a Guardian aloft. It looks from the cloak to be a hunter. Then a violent explosion takes place and pushes them back. Now, it's entirely possible that this is a cinematic moment that happens within the game that we can't really change. It's entirely possible that these are finishing moves that the various Tormentors will fight throughout the game will be able to conduct. However, there is also a more terrifying possibility. You remember the whole prophecy wall bit where it says that the Witness will drink the light? It kind of looks like the light is being drawn out of that Guardian. And so it makes me wonder, is this an ability that the Tormentors have? After all, if the Witness is going to the Traveler so that it will be able to drink the light also exists within the Ghosts and the Guardians. So, is this perhaps something that the Tormentors are capable of doing? It doesn't seem too far-fetched. After all, do remember that Calus's Shadow Legion carry pyramid technology with them, including devices that will suppress our light and drain our supers. If this is to be understood further as a similar mechanic, then who knows? Maybe the Tormentors can make off with the light energy of Guardians, which would make them a seriously credible threat. Of course, that's all speculative. There is no easy way to prove that this isn't just a devastating finishing move that the Tormentors can conduct upon us if we're a little bit sloppy in a fight. But let's just hope that that's all it is. And finally, I wanted to draw everyone's attention to the last scene that undoubtedly has already grabbed all of your eyes. This final scene shows the Witness. It's clear that it is standing within a pyramid structure of some kind, either a pyramid ship or some other kind of vessel that it occupies, perhaps a capital ship of some sort, or major way station that the Witness is using as a center of operations. The place, however, gets completely overrun by a bunch of white tree roots as well as red leaves. Without any further contextual information, that screams Nessus. But it doesn't make sense to be here. The roots grow towards the Witness with remarkable speed, and there is a mighty light at their back, seemingly encouraging or expelling the growth. The light is also a source of buffeting wind and energy that seems to send up debris everywhere in some degree of anti-gravity. If one didn't know any better, it would be easy to assume that the ship has been exposed to the vacuum of space in the process of near-light speed travel, but that does nothing to explain the plant life here. I'll be honest, I have no idea what to make of this particular scene, but if I had to guess, I would say that it's a confrontation of some kind. Such wild and unpredictable growth is commonly a sign of the light instead of a sign of the darkness. This confrontation seems to point to the source of the light being wild and uncontrollable, almost to the point of being ravenous. Such pure energy and growth makes me wonder if this is some kind of artifact of the Traveler or some means by which it can fight back against the Black Fleet. But the odds don't appear to be in our favor on this one. And if that is the case, well, it's not really clear. We'll need to wait and see what this scene actually is before we can properly decode what's happening here. But I cannot help but imagine that the Witness has factored in these various powers into its plans. It has advanced throughout the system and taken its time. It has the totality of its previous victories on its shoulders, bearing it forth. And it took a great sacrifice of the Traveler to stop the Witness last time. But now it's not so clear if that can be done. We'll see what all of this means when it comes to Lightfall, but for now, I think that it's fair to say that we are in a fair degree of trouble. That's all from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found all this interesting. If you did, go ahead and let me know by leaving a like on the video. And of course, there is more stuff to come from the channel. We have lots of content to cover from the Season of the Seraph. I'm running the dungeon this afternoon. I'll have started running it a few hours ago as this video uploads. I'll be doing it with Martin and with good old Barb. We will be making sure that we get that content out to you as quickly as we can. Because, yeah, a strange tower in a time warp in Mars, that's undoubtedly going to have some interesting lore to it. Either way, we'll get that to you and we'll make sure that we can get coverage of everything to do with the season and to do with Lightfall. But, as per usual, know that your viewership is quite enough for me. And that in the meantime, my name is Bife. Porodacia ad Astra. I'll see you, Starside.